Hello, this is the second part of a microeconomics video. In the previous video we have talked briefly about what is economics. We have defined what is microeconomics and what is its goals and how is it different. We have touched upon a basic idea of scarcity and looked into types of scarcity. And eventually we looked at the basic economic questions that are being asked by economists on a daily basis. So in the previous video, I have developed a very basic understanding of economics and microeconomics. In this video, however, we're going to be looking on basics of microeconomics. We're going to look further into basics of microeconomics. We'll look upon use of models economics. We'll look at the first model of opportunity cost, and we're going to look in the first diagram of production possibility curve. So the first is the use of models economics. It would be good to ask a question: what are the models in economics in general? Well, the models are representation of concepts or ideas from a real world or from real world situations. Economists use models to represent and demonstrate the economic principles. So the models are essentially used to prove or disprove specific theories or specific principles or ideas. Models can be used throughout different subject areas, throughout any social sciences, but in economics, the basic characteristics of models that they are representing the real life situation, and most of the models are very much simplified to the bare minimum of maybe 2 to 3 different variables. However, amongst all the models that are used in economics, economists use the concept of ceteris paribus, which can be translated as all else equal. Economists assume ceteris paribus whenever they're examining a specific variable in order to create an easy examination and develop less complications throughout the analysis. So ceteris paribus focuses primarily on a single variable. In economics, it might be a price of the goods or services, or it might be the overall output of goods and services. So one of those variables is going to be a primary variable that economists would focus on, while the rest of the variables and other significant factors will stay the same. And by keeping the different variables all the same except one variable that is primary, economists can define specific trends within the particular economic situation, and that eventually proves or disproves particular economic principle. In the end, all the models are being evaluated using the different statements. In economics, there are 2 different statements. One of them is normative statement, which can be defined, which is based on element of opinion or expression. So normative statement that is being used in evaluation of the model utilizes the emotional aspects of the particular real life situation with little to no use of qualifiable or tangible data such as statistics, numbers, percentages. The opposite of normative statement is positive statement. It's a fact. Positive statement consists of facts that are based on quantifiable observations, meaning that the evaluation will include a positive statement that includes numbers, statistics, percentages, etc. However, amongst all the models in economics, the main goal for any economist is to keep the balance between emotional aspects and the quantifiable aspects. In the end of the day, the success of the model is based on the balance of different factors. So the second goal of our video was to look at opportunity cost and production possibility curve. Opportunity cost can be defined as potential benefit that individual or business are missing out whenever they're choosing one alternative over another. So basically, opportunity cost is about the choice. It's about the choice that is made by stakeholders in the economy, which are the consumers, producers, and the government. It is up to individuals in the economy to decide whether they want to sell the product or whether they want to buy a product or a service. And it is up to them to decide whether they are willing to have a high opportunity cost, meaning whenever the individual is buying a product, he or she might experience a bigger loss in terms of money, or whether he or she is buying a product that has a lower opportunity cost, meaning that there is a very little risk of losing the money. Opportunity cost is also very much tied, the concept of opportunity cost is very much tied to the production possibility curve, which is a representation of variations in amounts of the two goods or services that are being produced and dependent upon the same finite resources. On the diagram to the right, we can see the production of two services, healthcare service and education, which is another type of service. And both of these variables are connected by the curve. On the curve, we can see several points, A, B, C, D, and F. Those points represent the maximum and most efficient allocation of the resources, meaning the human labor, the capital, the enterprise, and are utilized to a maximum efficiency, where no resources are being underused or overused. The points E and G remain not on the curve itself. The point E represents the inefficient use or allocation of resources, meaning some of the human labor or some of the capitals are being underused or overused, which suggests that the economy is not necessarily developing and it does not have its particular growth. Most of the economies around the world operate within the region underneath the curve itself. However, the point G is located outside of the curve, and it's suggesting that resources, that economy is reaching the maximum allocation of resources, that there is development of new technologies that allow the economy to grow and to develop. Overall, in this point, we can see that production of resources is very much a choice. The production at point B suggests that there's going to be a higher output of healthcare services rather than education. At the point D, there is higher production of educational services rather than healthcare services. Therefore, it is a particular choice of the government, producers and consumers, and of all stakeholders in the economy, whether to choose one of the factor over another, or to choose two factors and find a particular balance between both of them. As has been previously mentioned throughout the explanation of a past diagram, the factors of production possibility curve are very much based on factors of production possibility curve are very much based on factors of production, which include land, capital, labor, and enterprise. All of those four different variables of factors of production allow the economy to shift inwards or outwards, meaning the production possibility curve will shift inwards if one of those factors is being underused or is not being used to a full extent. The curve will shift outwards if all these factors are being developed and are being used to maximum efficiency. So opportunity cost, production possibility curve, the basics and one of the first models that you're going to be looking in microeconomics and macroeconomics and international economics to come. It's very important to make sure that the models and supporting diagrams are being labeled correctly, being organized correctly, and are being defined correctly. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.